Okay, in this video, we will learn about the border radius property in CSS. The border radius property is used to round the corners of a border. Okay, so as you can see in this example, we have the border radius of 30 pixels and the box is kind of rounded. So if we want to round the corners, then we want to use the border radius property in CSS. Also, this border radius property is a shorthand for these four properties. So basically we can set the individual border radiuses for each of the corners of the box. Okay, so we have the border top left radius, border top right radius, border bottom right radius, and we have the border bottom left radius. All right, so let's see that in action. So if I go to my code editor, we have this container once again, and inside of this container, what I'll do, I will create another div which I will add the class of box or rounded box. Okay, all right. So now, for example, let's go to the browser. Here it is. So now what I want to round the corners of this border. Okay, so of this box basically. So how I can do that? I can set the border radius. So let's learn about the individual ones. So border top, then left radius, let's say 10 pixel. I will copy paste that 3 more times. So this will be border top right radius of 10 pixel, border bottom left radius of 10 pixel, and then border bottom this will be right radius. Okay, hit save. So now what will happen? Now our box, basically our container, is now rounded. Awesome. Now what we can do, we can have the shorthand syntax as well. So if I just comment out this, and then what I can do something like border radius of, let's say, 20 pixel. If I set it just like this, then what will happen? Each and every corner will have that 20 pixel of border radius, but we can change that as well. So in this shorthand syntax, if I go to the documentation, so as you can see, we can pass 4 different values for 4 different corners. So the first one will be for top left, then we have the top right, then bottom right, and then bottom left. Basically it is following the clockworks pattern. Okay, so what I can do, for the top left radius 20 pixel, for the top right radius 30 pixel, for the bottom right 40 pixel, and then for the bottom left it will be 50 pixel. If I hit save right now, if I just go here, now as you can see, all of the border have the different amount of border radiuses. But right now what I want to do, basically I want to have a 10 pixel of border radius. Okay, so now let's work with the rounded box, basically this class and this div. Okay, so let's do that. So dot and then do rounded box to select the class, and now I can add a height of, let's say, 400 pixel. Not 400, that will be too much big. 200 pixel. Okay, width of 200 pixel, and then I can add a background color of something like blue violet. Okay, all right, and then I can do a border radius of something like 20 pixel. Okay, hit save, go here. Here is our rounded box, which is looking good. Now I will add some margin as well, so that it is not sticking to the like the button. So margin of 20 pixel. Okay, now let's see how that looks. Okay, all right. So now what I want to do, I want to convert this to a circle, this box to a circle. So how I can do that? So we can do that by two ways basically. First of all, what we have to do, we have to set the border radius half of the width and the height. It is relative to that. Okay, so now if I do something like 100 pixel, okay, so now it is a circle. Awesome. But if we want to use something like percentages, we can do that as well. So if I do something like 50%, so now it will be this percentage, the 50% will be relative to the width and the height of the box. Okay, so if I just save that, so now it is rounded. So if I change the height and the width to 300 pixel, and here as well 300 pixel, if I go here, we will have a bigger circle. Okay, so now it is changing according to the height and the width, but we can create a circle only when the height and the width is same. Okay, if I change it something like 500 pixel the width, then we will have an oval. Okay, and if I just change the height to something like 500 pixel, then we will have the oval which is upside down. Okay, so in that way we can like create different shapes. Okay, so we can create a circle, we can create some oval, and so on and so forth. So what I'll do, I will just do 200 pixel and here also 200 pixel. So this is basically the border radius property by which we can just round up the corners of the divs or any other elements, basically the box. Okay, so we can round up the corners of the box. All right, so this is the border radius in CSS.